Welcome to the Sandro channel. Make sure that you subscribe.
Hi folks, Sandro here with more cartoon news and shenanigans, and today I'm actually going to be doing a quick little review and discussion of Sonic Prime. This is the latest Sonic cartoon, came out on Netflix on December 15th, which is just 4 days ago from the time of me recording this. And I watched through the first season. I have to say, I was a little bit disappointed. Only 8 episodes for the first season. And I sped through them so fast, like it was a really enjoyable story. I have to say, a really, really enjoyable story. It does leave off on a cliffhanger, to get the audience excited for more episodes. But man, 8 episodes just sucks. I remember when I was a kid, a lot of these shows like these networks like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and Disney, they would often do like a full season order, right? They would do like 20 plus episodes. Sometimes they would even do like 50 all at once. They would do like a huge 50 episode order. You don't see this anymore. You just don't see it anymore. We're out here with Sonic Prime, just 8 episodes, and they just flew by because it was actually a really good story. I will tell you guys right now, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I did enjoy it. I thought it was really good. I just had a few negatives here and there. I'll go over them really quickly. So I think one of the biggest negatives of this show is the animation style. Like, it looks good. Like, here it looks good, right? Like, this is the title poster here. Looks kind of good. But when you see it in motion, sometimes the lighting is just really, really terrible. The lighting is bad. Sometimes the animation is just choppy looking and a little bit sluggish looking. I personally had some issues with the animation all around, and I think it had to do with like just the lighting, sometimes the lack of detail. They'd be like running through grass and it just looks so flat and lifeless. There's no like insects flying around. There's nothing. The detail is a lot like just lacking. There's some scenes where it looks very beautiful, don't get me wrong, but then there's some scenes where you're like, this just looks like plastic, it just maybe this isn't a good picture. This actually looks detailed here. They actually put time into this wall, but there's just this flat look to it. I don't know what it is. There's something about the rendering here. I'm not sure what is going on, but sometimes Sonic, like, it just looks flat and lifeless, man. It doesn't look as great as you're thinking, but like on some of the posters for the characters, they obviously got some really, really epic renders, like for Rouge here. And I do really enjoy it. I really appreciate having Rouge back. I feel like this character, I don't know, I feel like she's kind of been sidelined in recent years alongside Big the Cat. Big the Cat is there. He is there. He's a character they don't bring out very often, but he is there. And that brings me into another thing. Not only did I not like the animation, especially the lighting. I think the lighting was just a huge issue for this show. Here's a great example. Look at the lighting here. It is not pleasant to look at. The backgrounds, like, they just look so lifeless and dead. I don't know what it is. I've never really seen. I can't think of another show that just something about the way they rendered it or the lighting. Something is off here. I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys could let me know what if you're one of these animated. Maybe you use Blender a lot. I actually back when I was in game programming school, we used like things like Blender and Unity. What's going on here? Is it the shading? Is it the rendering? Why does it look so lifeless? Why does it look so weird and just like plastic looking? Like, it doesn't look right. Something is so wrong with the animation. I do want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Then we go to the voice acting. Again, I don't like some of the voice, like Sonic. I don't know. He doesn't sound very Sonic-ish to me. I like some of the other portrayals of Sonic I've heard in the past, but it's hard to get used to his voice. I don't know. Big the Cat, I do not like Big the Cat's voice. Whenever I think of Big the Cat, I think of the ones from the video games where he's just this big, lovable goofball that kind of sounds really slow, like, "Hey, Froggy, I love you," He sounds like a very stupid, dumb character, but it's a lovable old rascal, I kind of miss that. They went for a different tone with Big's voice in this one. Even I think overall my favorite voice actor was probably Amy, and I don't know, even like Amy and Rouge were probably the best of the best. Tails sounded very, very childish, very nasally. I don't know. I've definitely heard better Tails in my day. Knuckles, in the first like episode or two, he felt like he was like trying to really get into the voice there. I definitely noticed what. So where we leave off in the cliffhanger in episode 8, there's like a pirate captain version of Knuckles. And, sometimes you could tell that, like, he drops the pirate accent a few times, the voice actor, where, he's trying to do, like, oi, me hearties. You could tell that they're not trained to do, like, pirates the whole time, so they're trying to, like, struggling to keep it with all dialogue, right? It's hard to keep the pirate accent going with all dialogue. You could definitely tell he dropped it a few times if you were to rewatch it a few times. Yeah, I really enjoyed Amy's take on the voice. I thought she was good. Rouge, like I said, Rouge was good. And then there was Eggman. I've definitely heard better Eggmans, but it was solid enough. But I do really enjoy Eggman's character. They decided to split him into 5 different egg people, but they're all it's basically the same, like it's basically Eggman. They just kind of divided him into like 5 different stages of his life. You get the baby Eggman, you get kind of like the weird teenage video game loving Eggman, then there's like the one like the middle-aged Eggman that we're kind of used to, then there's the like I guess a slightly older one, and then there's the really really old one. Yeah, and what's really interesting, I wonder if that character is going to be the strongest Eggman, because they kind of like they had this line where Sonic goes up against the baby Eggman, and he's like, "Oh, couldn't it have been the elderly Eggman, or couldn't it be the old man Eggman?" And I was thinking to myself, Eggman as an elderly man, wouldn't he be like a super genius? Like he has had decades upon decades. Maybe he's secretly the strongest one. Maybe that's foreshadowing. What do you guys think? You think that's foreshadowing that maybe Sonic is going to go up against the elderly Eggman at the end, and he's secretly going to be the strongest one? I don't know. Maybe it was just taking a crack at, he's an elderly guy. Sonic wanted a nice, easy fight compared to the baby that was just really being an obnoxious little toddler. And the baby is definitely the most savage one. I love him. Also, they do that gimmick in a lot of shows where the baby just goes like "goo goo gaga," and then everyone's like, "Ah, yes, little one, of course." They understand his speech, right? Even though it's just like goo goos and gagas, they actually understand him, which is pretty fun. I don't know if Sonic and the gang can understand the baby Eggman, or if it's just the fellow Eggmen that can understand him. The council, right? What do they call it? The Egg Council or whatever? The Chaos Council. That's what they're calling themselves. Yes. The Chaos Council. I really enjoyed those characters. It's better. Instead of just having one villain, we technically have 5 villains, which is really exciting. But was this show better than Sonic X? I'm a big fan of the cartoon. Like, I like 2D animation. I like Sonic X better. I'll be real with you guys. And I also love Sonic X's theme song was so kick-ass, gotta go faster, 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 meow, meow. Just an amazing theme song. This show didn't have a theme song, I was really a little bit disheartened by that. I do love a good Sonic theme song here and there, especially they're usually these fast rock and roll, awesome sounding like, themes. And we didn't get a theme song here. It's just, it just flashes Sonic Prime on the screen, and Netflix really did the bare minimum with the theme song here, because there is none. They basically did nothing. Why even have a title card at that point, At least they put the logo on the screen for a few seconds. Jesus. So yeah, that's one of my other issues with it. I do think the length of this show was pretty cool. Like the first episode was like really long. I think that was like supposed to be a double episode. It was like 40 minutes or something. So we technically got like a bonus episode. The first episode was like super long, and then the rest of them were around like 20-ish minutes. So technically we got like 9 episodes worth of footage. If you wanted to say the first episode should count as 2 episodes that are like 20 minutes each. Whatever. They decided to structure it in a way that the first episode was 40 minutes. So I'm going to say this was an 8-episode show. I don't know what you want from me here, but yeah, the story is where it all takes place. Like there was like I said, I listed some of my disapproving points of the show, my negative thoughts here. Like I said, the voice acting was an issue in some cases, but not, you could get over it, right? It's like the characters, you'll get used to them as you watch the show. The animation is consistently terrible, but there's times when it looks really, really good. There's fighting scenes, there's like action scenes where it's like, wow, look at all this action. We barely ever get action shows nowadays. Just happy to see some action. So that was great there. But like most of the time, you would get just this weird vibe of lighting, these lifeless backgrounds that are just like, ugh. And then that brings me to one of the other negatives, the background characters. There's a bunch of these like character. I think it was Sonic Forces, right? Was that the video game where you could create your own like Sonic OC? They took inspiration from that game, and the characters look like they're straight out of that video game. And they're very bland, they're very boring. You can really hear that they're based off of like the other characters, right? The other voice actors just do the voices for them, and they don't even do a good job. You could tell one of them is basically Amy straight up. Yeah, the background characters are really shit. Like, they are not good. They're not even pleasant to look at. They are just so bland and boring. Kind of like the animation in a lot of cases. But the characters are pretty good. I think they're all very solid, and this is a really interesting show. We get like such a I was drawn in by the story here, folks. I really was. Basically there's like this what is it called, the Paradox Crystal or so. I can't remember the name of it, but it shatters. Sonic goes in head first. It shatters, and we get these like different universe. I'm assuming there's going to be 5 of them because there's like 5 Eggman and et cetera, et cetera. Right now we've seen like the pirate version. We've seen the New York City, which is sort of like the big where they spend the most of the time here. And then was there another one? Oh, the jungle. There's like that primal one where it's like they're all like savage cave people. So we got like 3 iterations. It seems like we're gonna get like 2 more in the next season here, maybe. And I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really cool that we get to see all these different variations of like, Amy is a robot that's like been destroyed. Like Eggman absolutely like broke her soul there, literally just broke parts of her. And that was just crazy. And her heart was like a bird. And then Sonic is like, that is messed up. Okay, and I have to go. This show is actually funny. I definitely laughed a good couple of times. Were there some dry moments where it was like, okay, they made some really corny, cheesy kids jokes? Yes, there were. There were definitely those cheesy jokes that were just kind of garbage. But every now and again, they'd get me on one. They would definitely get a good chuckle out of me every now and again. And I did find it enjoyable. So that's why I stand by a 7 out of 10. That's an above average show. I wish we got to see a little bit more Shadow. He was just kind of there in the background. Didn't do much. Honestly, we got a kind of a brief couple fight scenes with him and Sonic there towards the beginning, and then he's kind of there. He's kind of like backup support. They don't really talk about him much. And then as for the other characters, I think they're good. Like Amy, I love the fact that Amy is using her hammer. I really love that she's using it on multiple fronts. Like different iterations of Amy are using like the hammer in different ways. I thought that was really cool. The primal one was using it with the crystal to like make plants and shit. That was really cool. And I can't remember. She used it about like the different iterations of Amy just like have their own styles, which is really cool. But at the end of the day, it's still a hammer. You're just gonna want to smack it down. Actually, I don't think did the pirate Amy use her hammer? Or maybe she doesn't have a hammer. I'm not 100% sure. We're still in the pirate era anyways here, so I'm assuming the next season will give us a little bit more about that one. Tails, I love the fact that in the pirate version of Tails is named Sails, which that is good. That was pretty good. Also, I love how in the primal kind of version, Tails is like a savage that like didn't even learn to speak. Instead of being a super intelligent guy, he's just like a savage that was just, basically worthless. He's basically like a dog. They keep him as a pet. Why not? Oh my god. So there was that. Rouge, honestly, throughout the show, she was kind of like the most forgettable one. She's just kind of there. I don't know. I feel like in all the versions of like Rouge, she didn't really stand out too much. I feel like Amy was like Amy just wins the show. Amy was just everywhere, like holy smokes. Rouge was kind of like the leader in the primal era, but it's just like she was just holding. I don't know. She didn't do too much interesting stuff there. I'm hoping in the final 2 we get like a big story with Rouge there. We definitely got Tails in the New York, the Red Crystal portion there. We got a lot with him. We got Knuckles is obviously the pirate era here. He's kind of like the big captain. So he's the focus of this one. But Amy just seems to be, she has the robot Amy, I guess in the pirate era, she's not that great, but she was sort of like the monster in the primal sort of era, or the primal dimension, whatever you want to call it, era, dimension, whatever you want to say. So I thought that, like, I really enjoy what they're doing with Amy in this show. She has to be one of the best voice actress, I think, on the show. Like, she just, like, literally, Amy just wins the show. I think she has to be the best standout character here. Big the Cat. I love Big the Cat. He just doesn't do much here. I love to see him. He is a background character. He's just a lovable goofball. Really would love to see a little bit more out of Big the Cat, and Froggy is there every now and again, but Froggy is truly a side character. he is just there, he literally is just there being a frog. But yeah, Big the Cat, I think Big the Cat deserves more for sure. I'm trying to think of anything. The story so good. Spoilers. I don't think I've spoiled any story plots here, but I love this story. We're getting different angles of it. The whole story is basically, it feels like a video game. It really does. They're trying to collect all these pieces of crystal, bring them back together so that they can like get back to their original sort of Green Hill zone here with the Paradise Tree. And they do put a huge emphasis on like a special tree of friendship. That's like what the main focus is here. Amy was kind of sad that, Sonic is just like, hey, Amy, I have a million palm trees. What makes this one special? And Amy was really sad about Sonic in that way. And I mean, like, it's a great story. It really is. We're getting these. I think the most messed up one is the New York City, where the characters have clearly been through like a lot, especially Amy, where she's just a robot. It feels like a lot of her has just been replaced. Her brain can be controlled honestly like a straight up robot. It's crazy. Like, they did mention that Amy is like, she's still like not human, I guess, but she's like, what is she, a hedgehog? Yeah. she's still like biological, but part of her is robot. So she's sort of still there, there is a moment in the pirate scene where she sees herself, the robot Amy sees the pirate Amy, and she kind of like was like, hey, okay, we don't need to kill them. Let's move on. So there is a little bit humanity inside of Amy, or what would you call it? Hedgehog manity. Yeah, there's a little bit of the original Amy in that robot, and she is there. But yeah, I mean, it's a good show. It really is. I do enjoy that the characters are using their various powers. Tails is flying. Amy has her hammer. Knuckles actually a couple times was gliding. There was a few scenes where he climbs up the different walls with his knuckles, like in the video games and such. Really enjoyed it. And we do even see Shadow himself using a chaos control, which is how he kind of got into the dimension of the crystals there. What is it called? The paradox? I can't remember the name of the crystal. Whatever it's called. We basically get to see all the characters using their powers. Sonic himself using all kinds of things like spin. He even teaches Knuckles a couple times to use the spin dash. So really cool. We're seeing Sonic use power. Like, I love this show. It's a love letter to the fans of the games. Just a great show overall. If you guys aren't watching this, I don't know why you would sit through a 20-minute review when you could have already been watching the first episode. But great show. Love where the story is heading. Obviously, yeah, okay, where do I think the show is going to go? We're going to get 2 more universes or eras or whatever. I don't know, whatever you want to call them. I definitely noticed that, like, similarly how Dr. Robot or Eggman, he had different ages, right? So it's like there was the baby, the teenager, the middle age, then like the slightly older one, and then the elderly. I definitely noticed that we're getting like different sort of ages here. So it's like we had a bit of a prehistoric type of, the dinosaur. Well, was there dinosaurs? I guess there kind of was. We have that sort of like prehistoric caveman version. We had pirates, which is kind of like, the Middle Ages type of thing. And then we had the future, which you could just say was the New York City. So I wouldn't be surprised if we, like, will we have, or I guess you could say New York City is modern time, but it is robotic and futuristic. I'm just trying to guess that, like, I'm going to guess that one of the other eras they go to is knights. Maybe we'll have like a medieval, and then maybe we'll have like a Victorian type of, like a Europe type of a 1920s where they're all British, maybe maybe Amy will be Jack the Ripper or some shit. I don't know. Maybe we'll see that. Or maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe we're just going to get a different time period altogether. Maybe we're going to get Vikings. Yeah. Well, I mean, that would be too similar to the pirate one, right? But yeah, I feel like we're getting different ages here to correspond with Eggman, right? Eggman has the 5 different like ages of his life, and we're getting 5 different like time periods here, which is why I keep calling them eras instead of dimensions. But yeah, very cool stuff. The story is really cool. I think, like I said, it's just a very basic story here. I think what we're going to get, I mean, there is some complexities, but at the end of the day, you just know that Sonic is going to restore the world. Like, you just know it, right? He's just going to find the remaining crystals, and we're going to get right back to normal, and they're all going to have a picnic under the palm tree. But it's the journey is the destination, right? The journey is the destination. And yeah, that's all I'll say on that. I think it's a great show. 7 out of 10. If they fix the animation, if they, I don't know. I guess it'd be too much to ask to recast some of the voice acting here, but I want them to focus more on the animation for season 2. I'd love them to give certain characters like Big a bigger role. I want to see some real side character. I don't want to see these like, stupid OC from Sonic Forces. I want to see some like real background characters. It's really terrible, the background characters that we've gotten in this show. They just feel non-existent, so bland, so boring. But hey, it's all better than Sonic Boom, okay? Anything is better than goddamn Sonic Boom. No sticks. I don't want to see sticks ever again. But I'd love to see Vector, right? What is he? Alligator? Vector the crocodile? Vector the alligator? I'd like to see that kind of character. Some of these more like other, they don't appear too often, but I'd like to see some of those like weird, Mighty. Is it Mighty the Bee? Those different, or was it Mighty the Squirrel? I can't remember. I'd like to see some of those weird like side characters that you don't see too often. And yeah, again, really grateful to see Rouge the Bat, but I want to see them do more with her. I want to see more with her and Big the Cat, bigger roles. So that's going to be that. I love the show. I think it could do better. I think it could do a lot better. I also want to see a theme song. They better have a theme song for the next season here. And I do want to say, hold on, wait a second. I did read somewhere Sonic Prime. Yes, I think I read. Is it down here? So 8 episodes. Okay, here we go. Release. The first season of Sonic Prime, consisting of 8 episodes, was released on December 15, 2022. The first episode premiered on GameFam's Roblox game, Sonic Speed Simulator, on December 10th, 2020. That's such a weird place to release it. But yeah, the release time frames of the next season have not been officially confirmed, but will be it will be not in, but will be in the not too distant future after the first season, according to executive producer Logan McPherson, which is, what a weird last name, McPherson. So he's basically saying, yeah, it's going to come soon. Like soon, I'm going to say probably in the next 4 months. So January, February, March, April, we're going to see the next 8 episodes, I'm assuming, right? So very interesting stuff there. It's great to see that we have a time window. I personally think they should have released the whole season all in one go. It kind of sucked. It felt so abrupt, right? Like episode 8 did not feel like a mid-season finale. It felt like just sort of they stopped making episodes right there and we're waiting for it. Doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. I feel like they really should have just released the whole shebang in one go. But hey, what can you do? It's Netflix. They've been doing this. They've been cutting episodes and making it so you have to subscribe for multiple months if you want to keep watching the whole show. I really hate that. I wish they would go back to the binge watch model where they would dump the whole season and everyone could just absorb it right then and there. But it looks like Netflix is going the the more money-heavy route here. So that's a real shame. I'm going to end the video. I want to know all your reviews and your thought. What did you guys give it out of 10? Some of you guys in my Discord said it was a really, really amazing show. You give it like an 8, a 9, or a 10. I'm giving it a 7. I think it could definitely be better. I want to hear your comments and thoughts down below. Please like, please share, please subscribe. And why not watch an ad for your boy Sandro? Thank you guys so much. Peace out. Bye-bye.